Your sexual desire is not random. It is not a weakness. It is not something to be silenced, indulged blindly, or explained away with biology alone. It is a signal, a confession, a mirror held up to the parts of you that never learned how to speak. Carl Jung understood something most men never confront. What you desire reveals who you are becoming and who you are running from. Desire exposes a fracture between your conscious identity and your unconscious truth. It reveals the self you present to the world and the self that lives underneath your discipline, your morals, your reputation, and your control. You feel it in your body before you can explain it with words. A pull, a fixation, a craving that does not disappear no matter how rational you become. That is not lust asking for release. That is the unconscious demanding recognition. If you ignore it, it will control you. If you repress it, it will distort you. If you understand it, it will transform you. This is not a video about pleasure. This is about identity, about power, about the hidden architecture of your psyche. By the end of this, you will see your desire not as an enemy, but as a message that has been waiting your entire life to be decoded. Desire has been misunderstood for centuries. Religions labeled it sinful. Society called it impulsive. Modern culture turned it into entertainment. But Jung approached desire differently. He saw it as symbolic communication from the unconscious mind. According to Jung, the unconscious does not speak in language. It speaks in images, urges, fantasies, and attractions. Sexual desire is one of its most powerful dialects because it bypasses logic and strikes directly at the body. The body never lies. The body reveals what the ego refuses to admit. Stoicism teaches mastery of impulse, not denial of truth. Marcus Aurelius never taught men pretend desire did not exist. He taught them to understand its nature, so it could no longer dominate them. Jung complements this perfectly. Where Stoicism trains a conscious mind, Jung exposes the unconscious forces shaping it. Your desire is not about the other person. It is about what they represent. Strength, freedom, submission, chaos, nurturance, power, vulnerability. Each attraction points to a psychological imbalance, a buried need, or an undeveloped aspect of your character. This is why two men can see the same person and feel nothing alike. Desire is personal. It is psychological. It is autobiographical. Every fantasy is a paragraph from your internal story. Every fixation is a symbol. When Jung said desire is a spiritual doorway, he meant this. It opens not outward, but inward, toward the shadow. Most men are at war with their desire. They either indulge it without awareness or suppress it with shame. Both paths lead to fragmentation. When you indulge unconsciously, desire becomes compulsive. You chase stimulation without satisfaction. Pleasure escalates while fulfillment disappears. You feel emptier after gratification than before it. This is desire hijacking the ego. When you suppress desire, it does not vanish. It goes underground. It mutates. It leaks out as resentment, obsession, aggression, or secret behaviors that fracture your integrity. This is desire controlling you from the shadows. The conflict is not between discipline and indulgence. The conflict is between awareness and avoidance. You've been taught to identify as rational, controlled, respectable. That is your ego. But beneath it lives another force. The shadow. Everything you were taught not to be. Everything you disowned to survive, to be accepted, to be admired. Your sexual desire often points directly to the shadow. Not because it is dark, but because it is alive. It holds the energy you rejected, power you never claimed, vulnerability you never integrated, freedom you never allowed yourself. This is why certain desires feel uncontrollable. They are not stronger than you. They are older than your conscious identity. They form before your rules, your values, your self-image. They originate in a part of you that has never been allowed to speak. Ignoring that voice does not make you virtuous. It makes you divided. Here is the truth Jung uncovered, and most men never face. You do not desire what you want. You desire what you lack. Desire compensates for imbalance. It arises where your conscious life is incomplete. If you live overly controlled, you will crave chaos. If you live emotionally numb, you will crave intensity. If you live dominant and rigid, you will crave surrender. If you live passive and agreeable, you will crave power. Your fantasies are not immoral. They are symbolic. They dramatize unmet psychological needs. This is why desire often contradicts your self-image. You may see yourself as disciplined, logical, and composed, yet feel drawn to what disrupts you. That contradiction is not hypocrisy. It is compensation. Jung called this the law of enantiodromia, the tendency of the psyche to swing towards opposite when one side is overdeveloped. Sexual desire is one of the fastest ways the psyche attempts balance. What you find arousing is not accidental. It reveals the energy your life is missing. This is also why desire changes as you evolve. As you integrate strength, you stop craving dominance from others. As you integrate vulnerability, you stop seeking emotional rescue. As you integrate purpose, you stop chasing validation through bodies. Desire matures when the self matures. Until then, desire feels urgent, compulsive, and mysterious because it carries unfinished business. The lesson is not to act on every desire, nor is it to suppress them. The lesson is to interpret them. A Stoic does not obey impulse. He studies it. A Jungian does not judge the shadow. He integrates it. Your desire asks for consciousness, not indulgence. When you feel a strong attraction, observe what it symbolizes: power, freedom, acceptance, intensity, nurturance. Each symbol points to a developmental task. If you crave intensity, your life lacks depth. If you crave dominance, your life lacks agency. If you crave submission, your life lacks rest. If you crave chaos, your life lacks aliveness. If you crave validation, your life lacks self-respect. This is not a theory. This is psychological anatomy. Jung warned that what remains unconscious will be lived out as fate. This applies directly to desire. When you do not understand it, you act it out blindly. When you understand it, you transform it into character. Stoicism teaches that freedom comes from self-mastery. Jung teaches that self-mastery is impossible without self-knowledge. Together, they form a complete path: awareness before restraint, understanding before control. Your desire is not to be satisfied. It is asking to be understood. In the modern world, desire is constantly exploited. Algorithms amplify it. Culture commodifies it. Images provoke it. Endless stimulation keeps you reactive, restless, and fragmented. If you do not take control of your inner life, your desire will be shaped by external forces. You will chase what is marketed, not what is meaningful. You will confuse stimulation with fulfillment. Applying this knowledge requires discipline and honesty. When desire arises, do not immediately act. Do not suppress. Pause. Observe the emotional tone. Notice what state of being it represents. Then examine your life. Where is this quality missing? If your desire points to power, build competence and boundaries. If it points to intimacy, develop emotional depth. If it points to freedom, restructure your life around autonomy. If it points to vitality, challenge your body and mind. Transmute the energy instead of wasting it. Sexual energy is creative energy. Jung understood this deeply. When redirected consciously, it fuels ambition, artistry, discipline, and presence. When wasted unconsciously, it leads addiction, dissatisfaction, and weakness. This is why ancient Stoics valued sexual restraint without demonizing desire. They knew that energy conserved and redirected builds inner sovereignty. Modern men are overstimulated and underdeveloped. They chase desire instead of letting desire refine them. When you understand what your attraction is pointing toward, you stop being controlled by it. You begin to use it as guidance. Your desire is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It reveals the self you have not yet integrated. Carl Jung did not ask men to become pure. He asked them to become whole. Stoicism does not demand suppression. It demands mastery. You are not defined by what you crave. You are defined by how deeply you understand it and how deliberately you respond. When you stop fearing your desire, it loses its power over you. When you decode it, it becomes a compass. When you integrate what it points to, it evolves with you. This is how a man becomes unshakable, not by denying his nature, but by understanding it so completely that nothing inside him remains unconscious. Your desire reveals who you really are and who you are meant to become.